Hello, good evening and welcome. Ghanaian members of parliament citing a recent attack of a colleague by suspected robbers and the Westgate Mall terrorist incident have called for enhancement of their personal security both at Parliament, House and in their homes. Critics of the MPs say the lawmakers should focus on advocating general security for all Ghanaians. The question is, what exactly does the Member of Parliament want? And can we, as a country, considering the current economic situation, afford to bear the cost of providing all 275 members of Parliament adequate security? To help me answer these questions, I have with me in the studio George Lowe, the MP for North Dai in the Volta region and also Deputy Ranking Member of Public Accounts Committee. And also I have my own brother Nanaya Wakwada, Executive Director of Bureau of Public Safety. During the discussion, I'll be joined on the phone by Nie Alotebru Hammond, Chairman of PPP. This is PM Express. My name is Nanansa Kwao, and we'll start talking. Hello, welcome back to the show. And I think presently, if we were going to mark people with a very, very low perception, it's probably going to be politicians. And it's all because every time we open the dailies, there is, corruption here, misappropriation there, and somehow we lump them all in one bag and paint them with the same brush. Security generally in Ghana has become very, very low. But then one MP gets attacked, and then the general, idea is that, well, why don't we give extra protection to MPs so we are safe at home and at work? Is that what you think? Of course, they are your representatives. Since we can all not be in Parliament and we have nominated that one person to be there to represent us, maybe we need to give them that extra protection so that they can do their work for us. Do you think it's a yes? Do you think it's a no? I'll start with George. George, welcome.
Thank you, Nana. It's good to see you.
Yeah. I know. Naya, welcome.
Thank you.
George, I'll start with you. Is he a justified call for extra protection?
Well, thank you, Nana, and let me say good evening to our cherished viewers. I am happy that you started the way you started. That politicians is beginning to look like become very low-weighted in the sight of people for reasons that I think I disagree with. I think that we are all looking in the wrong direction when we are looking at who is causing the problems and who is doing the corruption. Mm-hmm. I sit on the Public Accounts Committee, and when we go through our accounts and we cite people for misappropriation and all that, I don't remember one politician that is involved. Mm-hmm. It's always the ordinary person working in the civil service, mm-hmm. The chief director who is a spending officer somewhere, and all that. But I'm sure that will be another day for that kind of argument. But mm-hmm. today we are talking security. Yeah. But it's not entirely. It may look as though because one member of Parliament has been attacked, so we are calling for security. But that is not the situation. The situation on the ground is that it has been a consistent and series of attacks on members of Parliament. I can give you, this year, I can give you about 4 members of, but I was not attacked, but thieves came to my home. I was just lucky that they couldn't get in. Recently, just about 2 weeks ago, a Court of Appeal judge was attacked, I believe, in Tema, Justice Senu Jamepe. He had a police escort in his house, a police guard in his house. Even then, but for some luck, he probably would have died. Is that what we want to happen to our public officials? Members of parliament, I keep saying, if you go and look at their condition of service, we are told that it is analogous to that of a high court judge. All high court judges in Ghana, to the best of my knowledge, have police escorts. Other Article 71 of holders have police escorts. District chief executives have police escorts. I mean, most of them when they choose to. Some have in their home because, you know, you go to their houses, they are guarded by some security agents. So why are we thinking that MPs do not deserve to have some security so that they can do the kind of work that we do? People forget that, you see, there are 3 arms of government and a 4th estate of the realm. Of these 3, I don't know by what twist people think that Parliament is the lowest of it all. Because in other jurisdictions, Parliament is the most vital organ. I keep telling people the Minister of Finance is bringing a budget. If members of Parliament do not approve that budget, nobody gets paid in Ghana because he cannot spend money. If he brings a budget, for Ghana to save money, members of Parliament must scrutinize that budget and take the right decisions and give him the right quotas. If we are going for a loan, when we do the wrong thing, we get a loan that goes down the drain. There are several examples I can give. And yet, it looks like everybody plays ball with MPs. The executives do not think that we are important. That's what I think. And the people think that we are just people who do nothing.
Okay, George, hold on. I have other views from your colleague MPs. Let's hear it, and then we'll continue from you again.
Parliament, we don't necessarily have any business to do in Parliament. People just surround the MP's car. When the MPs close, they are swallowed by these people, demanding this or that. But that is not serious. Are the MPs secured in the presence of those people? Are we sure that other terrorist people cannot just enter this house and attack us? What of the homes of the MPs? Recently, the MP for Akan was attacking his home. It could happen to anybody. And here's the case, the MPs have no protection in their homes. So I'm saying that the Parliamentary Service Board to look at this one, the national security to look at it and move on it. To give some, you see, if MP is not secure, if he wakes up, he doesn't know what will happen to his body. He can't have free mind to come and sit in the house and work.
Security at the house is not the best. It can be improved upon. And I believe that if the concern is across board, then obviously I share the same concern that security is not the best in the house.
Been hearing what happened recently in Kenya was an eye-opening, sort of, so that we need to put our house in order. And so the security for members of parliament is equally very important. I mean, it is not the person per se, but implications of losing a member of parliament to the economy can be very huge. I mean, that is the way I think we should all look at it.
Well, so that's some of the views of some, the MPs. Nana, I'll bring you in before I go back to George. I mean, they want extra security. And so why is the general perception that, no, they don't need it?
Well, personally, I also think they don't need it. And sorry to say, but personally, I think they don't need it. What are we looking at? We are looking at the threats of attacks facing members of parliament. How different is it from the ordinary man on the street? That is a very populist approach to look at it. But on that ground alone, one can conclude that, well, if they can't secure the state, why secure they as individuals? That's one. Now, the more technical argument will be that what risks and threats are the MPs faced with? To wit, what is the potential threat that faces an MP? And what is the real threat that faces an MP? what sort of evaluation has gone in, and if the police service or whoever they want to go into this can get us some documentations into this, and let's see whether these risks or threats are peculiar to MPs. If they are not peculiar to MPs and they are similar risks and threats that are faced by ordinary Ghanaians who are going about their legitimate businesses, on daily basis, then it means that the system itself ought to be checked. Just based on that, those would be my primary comments to, the case on.
Okay, so now let me take my break here so that we'll go into full swing. Otherwise, as soon as I go into full swing, they're going to tell me take a break. So I'll take my break now, and then we'll go to full swing, and then we're coming back. Like the other point, say that if the danger or the threat is not peculiar to MPs and it's to everybody, then let us have general security for all of us. But if it's something that's peculiar to only MPs, then of course they need that special protection. We are coming straight back.
If the government has already given them, they are already having one policeman, there's no need to add anything again. Why should they add another policeman to add extra cost to the government budget? Hey, no. But they have money, they are businessmen, they should hire their own private security guys in addition to what the government has already provided for them. Everything is paid the government, and the ordinary masses are suffering. Can't they see? That no. The government shouldn't add any extra. What they have, they should maintain. If they don't like, they should employ their own private security people. That's all.
Before they are not been attacking them, but now they came to power. They came to power as MP. They are attacking them because of their deeds. Because of their deeds that they are doing. But the only thing, let them give them 1. I don't support the extra. I support only 1 for them.
Thinking that it's not necessary for us to supply them with policemen and then our security. It could be possible that they can actually go for private security personnel who would, do the same job that the policemen will be doing. Because if we do that, their focus will now be on the MPs instead of on us. There could be a situation somewhere that they have to rush to. But then, since they need extra hands, they realize that they've given a lot out. What time would it be a part-time thing for them to do, like cover the MPs for a while and then, come back to their main jobs and then protect the other people of the economy, or only the MPs?
I don't think so. I don't think it's needed. Extra security is not going to help the country. What they should be thinking about is they should be thinking about the percentage increase in how it's going to help the society at large and the nation. Are you getting it? Because bringing extra security is going to add up more expenditure. Are you getting it? To Ghana's economy, and it's not going to help at all. So they should think about how to develop the nation, not to be adding protections to themselves.
Well, to me, it's not necessary. I don't think they deserve. Actually, looking at this, they are causing financial loss to the state in the sense that all the security they will be taking need to be paid, and they need to be treated equally as compared to those they are having already. We can use that money to do many other things. Sure.
Well, so that's the perception out there on the street with MPs stroke politicians. That's what the general public think about them, that no, they don't deserve any more security than they have. Indeed, the state, we can't afford it. And, it goes on and on and on. The discussion today is MPs asking for extra security for their protection. And obviously, the question then to the general public is, I have written here, deserve an end. Yes, they deserve it, but have they earned it? George, I'll come back to you. Now, let me introduce George properly again. George Lowe is a ranking member, a deputy ranking member of Public Accounts Committee, and also Honourable Member of Parliament for North Dai. And George, the question is, yes, you deserve it. Every human being deserves security. But then, have you earned it?
Well, I think that I'm excited about the discussion we're having, and as to whether one has earned the right to have personal security cannot really be detached from whether you earn it or not. I think that it's one bundle of arguments that would have. But I'm excited but surprised about the public perception because I think that they've taken it totally out of context. We are not asking for extra security. The point is that we don't even have it. I have no security, not when I'm here, there's no security attached to me as an MP. And there are many, many, many more MPs out there. But the question I ask is, you see, when we are looking at this thing, we put them in perspective. So we all get elected to parliament as members of parliament. Then by some constitutional arrangement, a colleague of mine becomes a deputy minister. Suddenly he needs police protection. A colleague of mine becomes a member, a minister of state. Suddenly he has security. What is different? Why? And Nana talks about the fact that we should look at whether the needs are peculiar to MPs. What are the needs? What are we giving ministers security for decoration, or that they are, as to use Nana's words, they have earned it? And what culminates in the earning? You see, we should look at it as equity across board. And I'm saying to you that why? Magistrates have police protecting them.
No, magistrates are very much in the line of fire because he's constantly
putting
people in jail.
Here you are. Honorable Kandapa, when he was attacked, was chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. And he believes up to today that possibly it's because of the work he was doing. That is why he was attacked. I'm deputy ranking member of Public Accounts Committee. It is dangerous. If I move from here today and I've actually, by my questioning, put somebody in a tight corner and he wants to eliminate, what do I do? And I'm even saying to you that people who already have the security, when sometimes the attack comes, they are not even able to handle it so well. How much more being left on your own? And let's bring our minds back to the first thing we should decide for ourselves is that are parliamentarians important as a nation? And if so, why are they important? And I started by that, and I'll go again. And I see, from where I sit, we are debating the VAT amendment bill. It's a very technical bill. It's a bill that you must spend time on. Ideally, I should be in my office at this time, bent over papers, trying to see if the bill we are. But will I want to stay in Parliament House with this state? Not sure that when I come out, if anybody chooses to attack me, I'm done for. Why would I want to stay there? And why would any member want to stay in Parliament House past 6 o'clock? So by the time you get there at 6, the place is vacated. And yet we are even talking about the position where Parliament should even be sitting in the evening rather than during the day, because during the day all the ministers are occupied. Other things can be done during the day so that the Minister for Finance, when he wants to bring a paper, can spend the day with his staff preparing. So that if from 4, 5 o'clock Parliament sits till about 9 or 10, we can still do the work we are doing, because anyway we sit from 10 to 2, so it's about the same number of hours. But I'm saying that when you feel secured, you are able to do your work better. And I have said, and I'm the first person to agree, that each and every one of us needs protection in this country. So it is not like we are saying ordinary Ghanaians don't need to be protected. In any case, somebody has said, once you are elected, you become a target. Yes, you become a target because the election, the process itself, elevates you from one angle to another. If you are an ordinary person walking the streets, people may not even have to come to you for anything because everybody is minding their business. But once you become a focal point like a member of parliament, everything from your constituency is directed at you. As a member of a parliamentary select committee, there are things that people want or feel you can do or undo. As I sit here, I'm a member of Constitutional Legal, and I get lobbied from all angles. People I don't know come to me because I hear, we hear you are a member of this committee. How can you do this to them? You are bringing this law. All these things come into play. Even as I sit here now, there's one particular security law that we are amending, and every day there are people, even including colleague members, who say, "You boys, you don't do that thing well. You see what we do to you." So you walk around, and sometimes, sincerely, you are not too sure how safe you are. But I agree. The argument that Nana makes, that holistically we need to look at our security in this country, and I think that I have said that the police, with all the challenges they have, are doing very well. But this argument is also important because I believe that once the argument is going on, we would fine-tune it at a certain point. And MPs having said that tomorrow morning, we draw all police people from other places and come and give it them to us.
Let me bring Nana in here. Nana, I think
George
is raised a valid point. Throughout the campaign, he's now been singled out as an individual. He's become a leader. So he's a focal point. He does certain decisions in Parliament which puts him in the line of fire. So he needs a policeman to follow him about, just in case somebody wasn't happy with the decision he makes. What do you say to that?
I think he makes very important points, and the passion with which he's making his points also is quite impressive. But let me share with you this. All of George's honorable's arguments are purely based on perceptions. And sorry to say, without disrespect to you, purely based on perceptions that he's an MP, that he passes laws, that he is at the center of a lot of the public, and so he might be a fair target for attack. Those are all perceptions. The point I made earlier, which I want to still make, is that we must come to that point as a nation where when we want to spend monies or spend limited resources, we must come to that point where such spendings are based on something empirical, something scientific. Look at this. Between 2004 and 2008, 80%, more than 80% of cases that were reported to the police were not fully investigated. 80%. So if you live in a country with such worrying statistics,
80%.
80%. And we are talking of a nation where in a year we have an average of over 230,000 cases reported to the police.
And 80%?
Yes, and less than 20% of those cases are fully prosecuted. That's what we are talking about. So if you live in such country where I know that I can get away with crime, what do you expect? Everybody will come under attack. It is fair to say, the pastor can rise up and say, look, because I am doing the work of God, because I am healing people, because I am, exorcising demons out of people, there are people who cannot face me in the realms of the spirit, who might want to attack me physically. I need protection.
Actually, let me add to that, because yesterday there was a robbery at Spintex in a house which I think first time I met George in the same house. And they went to the police station at East Legon, just under the bridge. And apparently they don't take complaints. And so in their desperate mode, they ask, can you give us a number of patrol team of anybody who can help us? They said categorically no. You need to drive to the next police station because here we don't do any such thing. And I don't even know which was more hurtful, the robbery or the rejection. But categorically, East Legon Police Station at 3 a.m. in the morning said that no, we can't give you a number, call the patrol team for you. You need to drive somewhere.
And Nana, let me support this for you. It's not peculiar to the station you are talking about. It cuts across the country. There are a lot of police stations you go, and sometimes they will tell you to, if they are graceful enough, they might provide you with 1 or 2 armed men and ask you to hire a taxi, to go check whatever crime that is going on. That is the problem, and that's the system that I said that, look, the challenges being faced that Mr. Lowe here has outlined are being faced by the general populace, and we must address it to some extent. In any case, when we look at what happens in other jurisdictions, do we have our lawmakers being policed or being provided with bodyguards in other jurisdictions? In civilized jurisdictions, the answer is no. So why do we need it here so badly? A country with so much limited resources, why do we need it here? So I think that if we want to provide security for our lawmakers, let us conduct a comprehensive evaluation of the security threats that they face, of the risks that they face as MPs. Probably they do not even need security. Probably all they need is their cars should be fitted with dash cams or secret camps and things like that. Probably that's all they may need. Probably even they may need more than one armed person. So if you provide them with an armed person, it's not enough. The kind of threats that they face may not be enough. So I think that just jumping and saying that, well, because the minister has a bodyguard, an armed bodyguard, I also should be given an armed bodyguard without any form of evaluation. It's wrong to start with. So it's very important that we go into some form of risk evaluation, threat evaluation, to determine the appropriate approach to contain the risk that our members of parliament face. There is no doubt about it that they are a core, very important sect of people within our society. But we cannot just jump and then provide security because they feel they need it. It must be based on something. And for me, from where I sit, I think that even ministers being provided with armed security escorts is really not needed.
Well, since most cases are not investigated, let's try and see if we can investigate this one. So there's out there somewhere, some registration number GC 7850-12. So it's GC 7850-12 is a Nissan Qashqai. So if you happen to see it anywhere, call the nearest police station. Hopefully you get the right one and we can solve this mystery. So I'll bring George in here now. 80% of the average citizen will not get their case investigated. So maybe you understand why 80% of probably people will say, no way. Come and be like us. Let us all face the heat. And my personal question to you is, if I give you the protection, aren't you going to get a little bit complacent and say, well, I'm okay, let me go and sleep? But if we are all in the same soup, you might think, no, let me make this playing field even so that we are all safe.
You see, Nana, I agree with you. I agree with the two Nanas on this on this table. And I think that you all make a point. That is why it's a discussion. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, you see, we should also. I am happy that Nana makes the point and stresses on security. You see, when we limit it, yes, MPs may have said that maybe they want armed police people, but it's only one aspect of security. Security is a wide spectrum. That is why, for me, the ongoing discussion is useful. Mm-hmm. In recent times, they've seen the need to provide MPs with what they call GOTA, mm-hmm. so that when something is happening to you, you may be able to get another MP to make a call on your behalf because of all these security. So at least, if you come to Parliament House today, it's a little better than it used to be because at least now you get searched, which didn't used to be the case. Okay. So, and I'm telling you that other places, they are taking security a lot more seriously. I went to Arusha for a conference, and as a delegate of the conference, member of parliament from Ghana, member of the government parliamentary delegation invited by the government of the speaker of, I was searched like nobody, even twice before I entered the conference hall. And I thought that was very useful. And of course, being close to Kenya and other things, you can be sure that we don't want that to even reach us here. But you see, the question that you posed, that is again where we have the misunderstanding. As Parliament, we should understand that our matter is about law making. Mm-hmm. I believe that all the relevant laws that comes to us, we try to make it. Investigation and prosecution is in the domain of another arm of government, the executive. The police are under the executive arm of government. Yet it's the executive who have the police protection. But coming back to the base, we are all worried about the fact that, there was, on a public accounts committee, remember, there was one case that had been with the police for 7 years or something. They said they were investigating a theft that had been reported. And I found, so I think that we gave a certain deadline that if they don't do it, we'll take certain action. But that is everyday occurrence. And we are not happy about that. They may tell you about their challenges. There are fine policemen, and then there are those that are doing all the wrong things that you want to do. So this possibly should even be a national discourse. But it is important for Parliament to raise this issue, for it to turn into a national discourse, because we make statements on the floor. And this statement, I remember I started it on a small scale. But I'm happy that my leader picked it up and made a formal statement on the floor saying that security, and he didn't order. He says that the National Security and the Parliamentary Service Board should start thinking about seeing how well they can protect members of parliament. The police should begin to think about more ingenious ways of ensuring, because I find it very strange that somebody will rush to a police station, which is supposed to be the place you really want to go when you are in trouble,
Joe,
only to be told.
I don't know how it works, but with statistics like this,
yes.
Can the members of parliament call the IGP into the house and say, look, this is a law you have to, which you guys are not following?
We will call the Minister for Interior. We can call.
Okay.
The IGP, the
maybe
subcommittee on Interior and Defense can summon the IGP.
You see, so then you
find out.
So you can understand the frustration of the average.
Yes, we maybe even call the National Security Corrector, but we may want to call him in camera because it's national security. And so you and I may not see what we do, but some of these things we do. That Committee of Interior is consistently. I remember they were in South Africa recently.
Let me take a break
and
come back. But at this moment, nothing should be done behind camera because the perception out there is dangerous. So everything good that's happening behind the scenes, do well to bring it in front of us. So at least we know that things are happening. We're coming straight back from the break. The big question is, do MPs need security or the extra security? The other question is, they deserve it, but have they earned it? And we are Georgia. And indeed, what type of security do they need? As the Naya has put in, maybe do they need, by assessment, they might need 3 men or 1 man or even nothing at all. Should it be cross-border so we all enjoy? But joining us, joining the conversation, is Ni Alote Brew Hammond, who's the national chairman for PPP. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening to you and good evening to your esteemed listeners on this great show.
Thank you. But the question here is MPs do a great job and a very necessary job, and indeed, if they are being attacked, maybe as a state we need to do something to keep them safe so that the state keeps moving. What's your position on it?
Well, my position is that as a member of parliament, you are a leader in the nation. You are not only a leader, but you occupy a sensitive position in our governmental structure, being part of a legislature. Now, we know that the government of any environment is in 3 divisions: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. I believe that all of these 3 wings have protection. The Chief Justice and some justices of the Supreme Court are protected. The President and the Cabinet are protected. And I believe also that in the legislature, the Speaker and the leader of government and the ranking member and the opposition are also protected. But there are only 275. And I believe that they deserve to be protected, because if a member of parliament, God forbid, encounters any problem, it becomes a national event. So we need to avoid that, and therefore we need to protect them. Now, what level of protection should we give them? That's where I come in and believe that they should be able to exercise that protective umbrella if they choose to, but pay for it. We should ask them to pay for providing them with the police protection.
I'm not an MP, but why is it that everybody else gets theirs for free, but MPs have to get a loan to buy a car which they work with? I don't think there's any government or any institution where if you go and work there and say, look, you're going to need a car, but I'll give you a loan to buy a car to come and work for me. So aren't we treating them too unfairly?
Yes, we are giving them some extraordinary treatment. I believe that they should access a loan based on their paychecks that will allow them to be able to pay back the loan for such ventures. But when it comes to security, I think we have to ensure the safety of all 275 members. They're not a large body. 275 may be large, but it is a body that we need to ensure the safety of each and every member. So that's why I'm suggesting that at least they should pay for that service. The speaker is provided by virtue of being the speaker, the head of the legislature, a free security 24 hours. The two leaders, both in government and in opposition, have also been provided.
Let me come in here again. So why should a deputy minister not pay for his protection and an MP pay for their protection? Why would that be?
Well, the deputy MP is now a member of the executive and a member possibly also of cabinet. And therefore, they are given special privilege as a convention. And therefore, we should not be seen to be going out of a convention. If you go to any civilized society, cabinet ministers are provided protection. And I think
only the sensitive ones, though, the really sensitive ones, like defense, the home secretary. But if you're, minister for agri or something like that, they're not going to.
But if you look at the flip side, if a cabinet minister is not in a sensitive position, and something should happen, something fatal should happen to that minister, it will become news of such magnitude proportions that the nation will be at a loss. So why wait till some calamity before a minister or a cabinet member who is not in a sensitive position than to protect it? I think we will make some savings if we provided the protection now than to wait for some calamity to occur before we try to
Nias, let me come in here before I bring George, but I'm coming here very, very sensitively and very advisedly. I know I have a very unguarded mouth, but judging by our political standards, you would rather lose a deputy minister who's not an MP than lose an MP, because if you have to go and do a re-election in any area, it's chaos. So if anybody is going to be protected, I say it's the MP, but I bring George in here. George, you have to pay for your security. That's what he's saying.
Well, I think, Nana, good evening to my very, very good uncle, Nia Lutera. He's my very good friend. He may have a reason for saying that, but I don't see the reason, because we are talking about equity and fair play. Mm-hmm. Why is the district chief executive not paying for his? Why is the high court judge not paying for his? Why is everybody else not paying for it? And I made a point earlier. We should take a decision. We should make a decision in this country to either have a parliament or not have a parliament, because democracy comes at a cost. And we are saying that why is it that in the continuum, everybody else is seen as important and must get the perks and the privileges that they have. Only the MP must always pay for everything that may look like a privilege. I think it's unfair to start with. And I think that we should be consistent. Because I asked the question earlier on, why? When we get elected, we all get elected, we are primus inter pares in parliament. But by our own arrangement, somebody becomes a majority chief whip, somebody becomes a leader of government business, somebody becomes an opposition leader. Suddenly, my colleague and I, who were elected on the same day, were sworn in a member of parliament on the day, because his name gets mentioned, they think that he should be more protected. Even those who have not even gone through an election. You see, MPs are public property. The only other person who is a public property is the president. All other people are not elected officials. We should understand that. You are the only one who the people of Ghana have said that we have chosen you to go and represent us. The only other person they represent, they vote for is the president and his vice. All the others are there by virtue of the fact that somebody likes their face and likes their color and likes their CV and thinks that they can do a certain job and mentions their name as, this is my appointee. And I'm saying that between the two, if the people of Ghana must spend money and must spend their resources in protecting people, should they be protected at the expense of the elected officials? It means that they are not protecting their own property. Because unlike a minister who is named because the president says so, or that somebody who by dint of the fact that is a lawyer and therefore has applied to become a judge becomes a judge. A district chief executive who is named by the president doesn't go through a popular election. I'm saying that between the two, which of them is state property? It is only the MP and the president.
Let me bring Nana in here. The other thing is, the general, the locals are saying that as soon as they elect the MPs, they don't see them anymore. Yet they have to go and pay for their protection. Now, if you don't see the guy you're representing, how are you representing them? And I come in here before I bring George. So
you are something else.
I think I want to agree with you as something else, because I think this question can well be answered by Mr. Lowe sitting here.
Yeah, Mr. Lowe, yes, I'll come back to you. Now, the general, a huge percentage of people who have elected their representative don't see them anymore. However, they need to pay for their protection. Now, if you don't see me, what are you telling them? Because you're not coming for me to tell you that I need water or I don't need water, I'm okay with water. So it means you're there doing it. So where does this...
Well, this issue of I don't see my MP anymore, I don't see it. I wonder, I cannot speak for every MP. But Nana, I do on the average 3 weekends out of every month. I'm in my constituency. Sometimes I'm in there from Thursday to Monday. In actual fact, all things being equal, tomorrow at dawn, 5 a.m., I'm leaving. I'll come back to a meeting in Parliament House and go back in the afternoon.
Yeah, no, let me interrupt
but let me just make the point. Okay. The point is that, you see, we must all accept one fact. The work that an MP does, most of all, is lawmaking. And that function is in Accra. It is in Parliament House. Your committee meetings are in Parliament House. That is where you affect the country most. As for this additional one of, my MP has come, he's come to our funeral, he's come to my church invitation and things like that, it is just a privilege that is being extended to the MP. I believe that people must really come to terms with the fact that
I'm running out of that.
When you are elected...
Well, I was going to ask a cynical question before I make my point. I was going to ask, you are in your constituency holding community meetings on papers on Parliament floor, educating your constituents, or you are in your constituency probably cooling off with your family and receiving visitors?
Well, you see, you do a mixed bowl of activities. I mean, half the time you go, first and foremost, there's a pack of envelopes from all the churches and all the other people. And then, of course, the community clinics happen from time to time. So it's a mixed bowl of activity that an MP goes to.
I'll bring Ni in here. I wish I had a little bit more time, but we can give you the protection, but come the next election, you would get away with all the protection and go out there in the gutters with the people. I'm here with you, and then as soon as you need the protection. But let me bring Ni in here. Ni?
Yes, I'm here.
This protection bit, and like George is saying that, if by virtue of your CV was just a little bit, 2 more paragraphs than mine, you get to be the deputy minister for, let's say, education or communication, deputy minister for Agric. Why should I give you a policeman?
Well, we need competent people to occupy the ministerial positions. And I believe that a CV has been one of the vehicles with which we use to assess a person's capacity to perform. And so if you provide your CV and it is seen to be in line with what is being sought after, then yes, you can occupy the position. But in talking about protecting the safety and security of our members of Parliament, I want to believe that they, by winning and representing some section of the community, that they deserve to be protected. And that is why I have come to the conclusion that they need the protection, but they should be assessed.
What is wrong in the general protection so that we all feel safe, and not that a particular group needs protection because they can have it and the others can't because they can't access it?
A particular group already is enjoying special protection. That is the president. That is the Chief Justice. That is the Speaker of the House. A special group already do enjoy what we protect the general everybody in the country. But they also need that special observation, because look at the possibility of they being attacked because of the position they take in Parliament. Look at them, losing an arm or a leg based on the position taken that someone doesn't like.
This
position in Parliament without fear or favor, and therefore prevention is better than curing.
You see, this argument you're making would actually stand if parents were not queuing to take their children to school, and when people were not queuing to see the doctor, and all things were basic things, were falling into place. You open your tap and water runs, then yes. But when we are queuing in schools to see the headmaster, and bribery here and corruption there, and then on top of that, there's a little extra tax for protection for some people, it becomes difficult to swallow.
Well, I would assume that with all of what you are saying, which I'm agreeing with, if we give them the protection and we find out that they were not performing, then we could withdraw that protection. And by attempting to withdraw, they would ensure that we have clean water to drink, that we don't queue too long in a line to get our sons and daughters registered to go into high school, that we have accommodation problems resolved, and that we have jobs. But let's at least recognize that they are an important part of our society. Once they get elected, getting elected is not a small effort that they exhibit. So let us recognize the effort they put in to get elected, and the constituency with which they represent. That if anything should happen to them, it would have affected the constituency, the thousands of people that voted them into office.
I give George the last word. 10 seconds, George. How are you going to make this so that you don't get even more condemned by society?
Well, I think that we are having a discussion, and I think that the discussion should not end with MPs alone. And I'm happy that we are now, it's even now in the public domain. Some way, somehow, we must find a balance. If people agree that parliamentarians are doing a very important job, and therefore they must be protected, then we'll decide on how they should be protected.
George,
that is about it. And I don't want the policeman to be standing by me 24/7. That is not the perception. But I want to just feel safe whilst I do my work in Parliament House. And on my way home, I know that if something happens to me, there is a police person or somebody.
Well, I totally disagree with Ni Hammond, right? I totally disagree with him that if MPs should be provided, they should pay for it. What I want moving forward is that the Minister of Interior should immediately commission a risk and threat assessment team to assess this proposal put forward by the MPs. And then let's overall assess also the risk and threat being faced by other Article 71
Thank you very much,
holders.
gentlemen. Thank you very much. From my extreme left is Nanaya Akwada, Executive Director for Bureau of Public Safety. And then to my immediate left is George Lowe, Deputy Ranking Member, Public Account Committee and Member of Parliament for North Dai. Who joined us on the phone was Nia Lutebru Hammond, National Chairman for PPP. My name, Nanan Sakwao. Thanks for watching, and as I say, tomorrow we'll be back to do it all over again. It's personality profile in a different style. I was at the beach. You need to watch that.